They say you should never look a gift horse in the mouth. But what if the horse shows up once a month, wrapped in sugar, guilt, and family expectations? The day my brother-in-law knocked on our door, I was folding laundry. It was a normal Tuesday. Quiet. Peaceful. The kind of day you hope will stay uneventful. But the moment I saw his expression, eyes sharp, mouth tight with restrained righteousness, I knew something was coming. And I knew it wouldn't be kind. He didn't sit, didn't even step inside. Just stood in the doorway and said, "You broke her heart." I froze. "She was just trying to be nice," he added, his voice carrying the weight of someone who believed he was delivering justice. "You could have just re-gifted the cakes." That was the moment my stomach dropped, because I realized exactly who he was talking about. My mother-in-law, the soft-spoken, silver-haired woman who had welcomed me into her family with open arms, and with cake. So much cake. You might think that sounds sweet, and on the surface, it was. But underneath it all, there was something heavier, something layered, something no one, not even my husband, fully understood. I used to be obese, and I don't mean a little chubby. I mean that food was once a war for me, a war I had to fight every single day, a war I survived. And cake? Cake was the landmine I never saw coming. Sweet, beautiful, innocent on the outside, but for me, it was a quiet invitation back into a life I swore I would never return to. When I married my husband just 4 months ago, I didn't expect to find myself back in that war. But my mother-in-law, bless her, is a baker. Baking is her language of love, her way of saying, "I see you, I welcome you, I accept you." And I heard that loud and clear the first time she sent over a 3-tier vanilla buttercream after the wedding. I smiled. I thanked her. I took a slice, and then I ate the rest. Alone, in the kitchen, at midnight, not because I was hungry, but because that part of me, the part that once needed food to fill the silence, was still alive, still waiting, still whispering. And the next month, she sent another one, and the month after that. Each time, it was beautiful, hand-decorated, flawless, always just because, always for you, sweetheart. My husband, ironically, doesn't even like sweets. He's one of those blessed creatures who can eat a single grape and feel full. He never had weight issues, never had the emotional relationship with food that I did. So the cakes, they were all for me. And over those 4 months, I gained 13 pounds. Now, I know what some people might say. 13 pounds? That's not so bad. But to me, to someone who lived in a body that once made me ashamed to look in a mirror, it was a red flag, a warning, a voice screaming, "Turn around before it's too late." I couldn't keep doing this. I knew it. So one day, after the 4th cake arrived, a gorgeous red velvet with hand-piped rosettes, I took a deep breath, picked up the phone, and called her. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I chose my words carefully, gently. I said, "Your cakes are beautiful. They're so good I can't stop myself. I'm trying to be healthy, and I've gained weight since the wedding. I love you. But please don't send me any more cake." There was a pause on the other end, then a soft, "Okay." No anger, no hurt in her voice, just a kind of understanding silence, and that was it. Or so I thought, until my brother-in-law showed up. Apparently she hadn't told me everything. Apparently she cried after that call. Apparently I had, in his words, broken her heart. And just like that, I became the villain. The ungrateful daughter-in-law who rejected a sweet old woman's kindness, who turned down love wrapped in buttercream. But here's the thing, no one talks about. Love without boundaries can still be suffocating. Sometimes, kindness, no matter how well-intentioned, can hurt. I tried to explain. I told him I wasn't trying to be cruel. I couldn't keep doing it. I was spiraling. I was scared. But he didn't want to hear that. "You should have re-gifted them," he said again, as if I hadn't thought of that. As if I hadn't already wrestled with that guilt a dozen times in my own head. But tell me this, how do you explain to someone that even having the cake in your house is too much? That the smell alone makes your hands tremble? That the act of walking past it again and again, trying not to open the fridge, is exhausting? That it isn't just dessert, it's a trigger? Could I have brought them to work? Maybe. Could I have frozen them or given them to neighbors? Sure. But that still means keeping them around, seeing them, thinking about them, planning how to get rid of them without hurting someone's feelings. It becomes another job, another weight, another thing I have to manage, when all I wanted was to not feel tempted every single day. And worse, if she ever found out I'd been tossing or giving away her cakes, that would hurt her more than my honesty ever could. But no one saw that. Not my brother-in-law. Not even my husband, who, to his credit, supported me, but also quietly hoped the whole thing would blow over. What no one understood was that my battle wasn't with my mother-in-law. It was with myself. And every slice of cake was a silent dare. Every sugary gift a question. Will you lose control again? Will you let yourself go? Will you forget how hard you worked to feel good in your skin? I couldn't answer those questions anymore. I just knew I couldn't keep saying yes. So I said no. And that no, that single, trembling, please don't, was what broke her heart. Not the weight gain, not the fear, not the sleepless nights replaying every bite, but the rejection of her cake. I get it. Truly, I do. I know baking is her way of showing love. I know she meant well. I know she's probably never struggled with body image or binge eating or the shame of buying clothes 2 sizes bigger. To her, food is celebration. To me, food is a test. And now, there's a fracture in our relationship. A tiny one, maybe. But it's there. A quiet tension whenever we talk. A softness that's changed. A warmth that's a little cooler. I never wanted that. But I wanted my health more. I wanted my peace more. I just wish love didn't come wrapped in so much sugar. So, am I the asshole? Was I wrong for setting a boundary? For saying no to something that was hurting me, even if it was meant with love? Was I supposed to sacrifice my progress to keep her from feeling rejected? Or is it okay to choose yourself, even when it breaks someone else's heart? You tell me, because I still don't know. And now, from your host at AITA Stories, this isn't just about cake. This is about boundaries, about the silent weight some people carry, not on their bodies, but in their hearts. Food can be joy, but for many, it's a battlefield. And every cookie, every slice, every well-meaning, just one bite can be a landmine. What makes this story powerful isn't the conflict, it's the courage. It's about someone who stood up, not against a person, but against their own fear. Someone who spoke truth with a trembling voice and set a boundary that might have hurt, but also healed. And that's the lesson here. Love isn't just about giving, it's about listening. So we ask you now, what's the kindest way to say no? And when someone does, will you hear the heart behind their words, or just the silence of your own hurt? Let us know in the comments. And if you've ever had to choose between kindness and honesty, we want to hear your story too. This was AITA Stories, and sometimes the hardest choice is the one that saves you.